going on, everybody? Welcome to the RBS Cinema Podcast.
I know Kung Fu.
Show me.
This is Sparta! I'm thinking I'm back.
Why so serious?
Avengers!
Assemble. I'm Batman.
You better lawyer up, asshole. Because I'm not coming back for 30%. I'm coming back for everything.
I'll be back. You shall not pass!
RBS.
Lovely.
What is going on, everybody? Welcome to RBS Cinema. It's morphin' time!
It's morphin' time!
Just wanted to throw that out there because this week's episode we decided to talk about Power Rangers the movie, Mighty Morphin Power Rangers the movie. And thank you to Annie for suggesting the movie for this week, because she wanted us to talk about Power Rangers. So, very nostalgic movie, very 90s, mid-90s actually, because it came out in 95. So, but not only that, but we finally have boom arms for our microphones. So, we're coming up. And this is my boomstick. So, you wanted me to say that. But yes, we are talking about Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. Very nostalgic movie. I grew up with the Power Rangers, just like I'm assuming you guys did as well.
Oh my gosh.
So,
yeah.
Every iteration that they've ever had.
Oh,
yeah.
We have one of our old home VHSs. We have that year, 1995, my dad giving my oldest brother the box and the Christmas present. Opening up and he goes, "It's Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, the movie. We're gonna watch it." And then earlier for Halloween, all three, my two older brothers and me, dressed up as the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. So one was the red, my other brother was blue, and of course I was the Pink Ranger.
Interesting. I remember dressing up as the Red Ranger for Halloween one year. And because the Red Ranger is my favorite because it's my favorite color. But yeah, otherwise, Sam, did you dress up as any of the Rangers?
Yeah.
I did not do anything dress-wise.
My friend actually has a Power Rangers tattoo on his shoulder. It's of the Tyrannosaurus
cool.
emblem.
I did have every single one of the Megazord ones, though, so...
Yeah, that was the only thing I didn't really have was, like, the Megazord. I think because, like, I had, like, a bunch of different Power Rangers growing up. And I remember that there was one year my mom took me to the store to pick out a birthday gift for my cousin. And I picked out the Black Ranger. And I was like sad because I was like, man, I want this toy. So, because like that's what sucks is like when you're getting something for somebody else that's about your age when you're a kid, it sucks because you're all like, dude, I want this toy. Why does he get the toy? I want the toy. Like, I'm here, you're my mom or dad or whoever. I want the toy. Why can't I get the toy?
Did you guys, any of you have the Happy Meal toys? They had the little coins. The Happy Meal toys released the coins that they had, so all the dinosaur coins.
I think I remember that. I don't remember off
I
the top of my head.
remember the day the movie was released, it was the last day of school, and McDonald's released the Happy Meal toys, and I was quite literally the best day for a 90s kid.
Yeah, because like
So much merchandise.
Oh my god.
oh yeah, hundreds of merchandise. Like you got the Megazords, you got the Power Rangers themselves, you've got the freaking costumes. You've got the like their communicator watches. You've got their freaking belt things that they had to where like they would go Tyrannosaurus and like show it off and stuff, and like it would open up and light up and stuff. Like all of that stuff. And not even just from the first Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, from then all the way up until now, I feel like. Because I don't go to the toy section at my freaking store, Walmart, Target, wherever you shop. But like I never really seek that stuff out just because that I'm no longer a Power Rangers kid. Because, like, there are still people that are obsessed with the Power Rangers, right? Like, there was one day that I was scrolling through TikTok and I saw this guy. He has a collection of not Power Rangers, but like the original, like, Japanese style of Power Ranger
Oh wow.
that they have. And so, like, he has all their different communicator things that they use to, like, transform into the Power Rangers. So it was actually really interesting because, like, some of them would be a cell phone, one of them would be like just like a freaking random object. I don't know. I can't remember off the top of my head, but like he had like, because not a ton of people know, but the Power Rangers was actually originally a Japanese show.
Oh yeah.
And especially for them to use the stuff for the show, they would just like take out the dialogue and just re-record the dialogue for the Power Rangers, because I think a lot of the fight scenes were actually from the Japanese version of the show.
No, they were.
So
they actually
especially
showed
early on. Now I think they just like do it themselves, but they just like have what is it stunt people that will do the choreo, and then like when they're actually suiting up or if they're like talking, then it's actually them on set. So versus them actually being in the suits and doing martial arts and karate and stuff. So let's get on with the actual episode. So for those of you that are new, typically what we do each week is that we will talk about what the movie is about, and then go into director, writers who starred in it, all that boring stuff. And then we will talk about the movie, especially our favorite parts about the movie, have an open discussion about that. And then by the end of it, we will give a consensus on this being a rent, buy, or a skip, which is the reason why this is called RBS in the first place. And then after that, we will talk about suggested people. And then, we also talk about taglines, because I keep forgetting to mention that as well. Mm-hmm. So, but yeah, that's basically what we do in a nutshell. So let's go ahead and jump right into talking about the movie itself. So the specific movie, not the show, but the movie of the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers is about a giant egg is unearthed at a construction site and soon opened, releasing the terrible Ivan Ooze, who wreaks vengeance on Zordon for imprisoning him millennia ago. With Zordon dying and their powers lost, the Rangers head to a distant planet to find the mystic warrior Dulce. I don't know.
Why do all great evils, why are they always uncovered at construction sites?
Well, especially back in the 90s, that's just how it was. I feel like it's probably just because that, like, you're just, like, taking out rubble, like, rock, and you're just, like, basically doing a foundation. And then it's all like, oh, man, like, here's this capsule. And then it's all like somebody gets suspicious, and then they open it, and it's like, oh, man, like, what is this? And some bad stuff happens.
You see something that looks like, if you see at the beginning with Ivan Ooze's capsule, it has this like scary looking face on it. I'm like, I feel like that should be a reason not to open it.
Right. I mean, like,
Never stopped anybody.
Yeah, with anything that you unearth, nobody has the sense, because of course, like, this is TV land, right? So like everything's made up, you know. What is it? Common sense goes out the window. Like, nobody ever thinks for themselves. It's all like, oh man, like, what's in this? And then they open it, and it's like, oh dude, like, what the heck is happening now? And then
workers, like they did in Dark Shadows with Johnny Depp.
Right. So it's all like that whole thing.
It's so silly.
So, but we got director Brian Spicer. Got writers John Camps and Arn Olson. And then got just a few players in the game here. We got Karen Ashley, who plays as Aisha, who is the Yellow Ranger. Got Johnny Jan Bosch as Adam, who is the Black Ranger. Got Steve Cardenas, who plays as Rocky, who is the Red Ranger. Got the late great Jason David Frank, who is Tommy, who is the green/white ranger, but in this one he's just the white ranger. Got Amy Jo Johnson, who plays as Kimberly, who is the pink ranger. David Yost, who is Billy, who is the blue ranger. We got Paul Freeman, who is Ivan Ooze. We got Gabrielle Fitzpatrick, who's Dulce or Dulce. Or Dulce, I don't know. I don't remember how you pronounce it. You got Paul Schreier, who is Bulk, and Jason Narvi, who is Skull. And you got Nicholas Bell, who plays as all-powerful Zordon. Last up, we got Peter Marie Rickson, who plays as Alpha 5 just on screen. But we got the voice actor, who is Richard Steven Horvitz, who, if you all remember who that is Billy from Billy and Mandy.
Destroy us all! Destroy us all! Destroy us all!
And Zim from Invader Zim, as well as a versatile array of other voices that he has done in numerous different TV shows.
Who are you? I am. Who are you? I am. Who are you?
I met him.
So
He's okay.
I see him on TikTok on occasion. He's a very funny man. And then we'll go into taglines, and then we'll talk about the movie specific. This one is actually from the Christmas home video TV advertising tagline, which is a gift you know they'll love. Why is that even in the taglines? IMDb, I have no idea. Then we got 6 teenagers have discovered the power to fight the forces of evil. Now the fate of the universe is in their hands. It's not necessarily a tagline. Because for those of you that don't know what a tagline is, it's basically just like a quick little word or snippet that they use on the poster to just basically entice people to come and watch the movie. Like that is just basically who the Power Rangers are and what they do. And then we got the power of teamwork overcomes all. I don't necessarily know if that even is a tagline, just because of the fact that like it doesn't really make much sense, because that's what the Power Rangers do. They use teamwork to fight the forces of evil every day. Like that doesn't make any sense. And then the power is on. Again, don't know what that means. Like, not unless you watch the movie, because like Zordon loses power to
It's actually quite the opposite.
to their lair.
But they have to go find the great power. So
Right.
so
and like
I
that
can
makes
kinda
sense,
see
because
that one.
because then they get their powers again. Slightly, because then they go and they defeat some evil, like they basically go on to a quest or a test or something, and then they gain their powers back. And then each has a power, each has a purpose, and together they will face their greatest adventure.
That one makes a lot
I mean,
more
that
sense.
makes a lot more sense, because it's like individually they each have a power, each of them has a purpose, and then, you know, they come together and then they face their greatest adventure yet.
Make the
So-
Megazord.
Right. And then the last one is you ooze, you lose.
I like that one.
That one, again, doesn't make any sense, because, like, I don't even think that Ivan Ooze is even featured on the poster. Now,
His egg
it's-
is, though.
yeah, because, like, especially in the 90s, like, you only had, like, one poster, if that. So, sometimes. Because, like, I don't know if there would be different iterations of the posters back in the 90s, like there is now, where there's, like, because I remember working at the movie theater, I would get, like, 5 freaking posters of the exact same movie, and 95% of them were always teasers, because then you would get like, oh yeah, like here's the release date, like here's when the movie first gets announced that it's coming out, and like here's a teaser poster for you to put up so people can get excited for it. That's cool, that's awesome. Like kind of how I had my John Wick poster up there up until Sam destroyed it. No, I'm just kidding. He didn't destroy it. He just knocked it over. That's why it wasn't up last week. And now I finally got my new John Wick poster that I have had
It's beautiful.
in transit for freaking 2 goddamn weeks.
Keanu
So-
Reeves.
And then Thursday, I went to go get the poster frame for it. So,
Ballerina comes out in a couple months. Please go watch it.
yes. It's going to be
Sure,
super
I thought
exciting.
about that one, but okay.
We're gonna go see it. It's gonna be great.
Yeah, it's coming out in June. It's going to be awesome. Can't wait. But yeah, and then you would get the official poster that would come out, and then like that would have all the different bunch of stuff for it and everything, so that's whatever. But then you would get random posters that were also teaser posters. Like sometimes you would get like a big ensemble cast of like different characters that you would get as like character posters.
Oh yeah.
So
Yeah.
like that was a huge thing. But it's ridiculous now, because now I can't even imagine how many posters that you would actually get in a given time, because like obviously you would get duplicates because you would have to put one inside, one outside, so that way when people would walk in they would see the poster. If they didn't see the poster walking in, then they would see it going towards their movie when they would walk in and go down to the auditorium. So but yeah, no, like that to me, whenever there would be a tagline for like, oh, the good and like the evil or whatever, it's always hinting at the fact that you have character posters. But like even in an earlier episode of the Street Fighter, when I did that, like there was one that I would imagine like featured both Jean-Claude Van Damme and Raul Julia, and it would be like, oh, the good and the bad and whatever, or something along those lines. And that's basically what it was. And I would assume that it's probably just because of the fact that it was featured on character posters. So, but other than that, where is it? Sorry, I'm bringing up my notes. All right, let's get into the movie itself. So now's the time when we actually have the open up discussion about the movie and what our favorite parts are. So, one of the things that I actually really like, because like there's not too much to this movie. It's like an hour and a half, but again, there's not really a whole lot to this movie.
It's a glorified extension of what a normal episode really is.
Yeah, it's just basically kind of like an hour long episode, pretty much, like a special event episode, because like even for it being like an hour and a half, it just felt like it was just one giant long episode. Like they could have definitely broken it up into 3 different pieces, and then it would have been one giant long special event. But I think because like a lot of TV shows that were really big and popular, especially this one where it's still big and popular, where you still have that like movie adaptation of it, whether that be good or it's bad. And then also vice versa, because there's sometimes to when a big film will have its own like TV show, not even live action, but also like a kids cartoon.
Oh yeah.
So I don't know if you guys remember this, but they also had a Dumb and Dumber TV show.
Of course.
Ace Ventura, The Mask, not the Terminator, Rambo. There was like the Ghostbusters.
Oh, I remember that one. Beetlejuice had one.
Beetlejuice. So there was just like something in the 90s that was just about like, okay, well, this movie is really big and popular. Why not just
They were switching roles.
do a thing?
Movies
Why
were
not make a
making
show?
TV shows, and TV shows were making movies. So
Excuse me.
that's what it was. So
Yeah.
they were switching roles. Literally, it was
Oh, yeah.
actually really fun to watch.
Because like it was really interesting, because like you would have a movie that's like rated R, like Rambo, but or like RoboCop. That was another one that I was drawing a blank on. RoboCop, they actually made a kids cartoon for, which is very strange because that's a very, very violent movie, very rated R.
It's a Paul Verhoeven movie.
Yeah, and it's all like, why did you guys decide to make this into a kids TV show? And then you would also get toys.
Money.
Pretty much, because then you would also have the other thing of it being like I don't know, I lost my train of thought there, but yeah, but like then you would get toys and stuff too because of the TV show. Like that was the other thing. But yeah, and like there's even sometimes to when you'll have a show or a movie that it's just driving the force to basically just show toys or to sell toys, because like
It's the main get up on what
yeah,
you're doing.
because like even in Batman, like the first 2 Batman movies, Warner Brothers really wanted to sell Batman toys, but they couldn't because Tim Burton's Batman movies were so dark and gritty, and he just made them super dark to where it's just like, yeah, can't sell toys because it's not child friendly.
It's kind of a lost direction. Like, movies have obviously gone on from that, but during that time, it was a very prevalent tactic that movies were doing. Product placement was absolutely pinnacle.
Oh yeah, that's how they made their money back, was product placement. Like, even the Transformers movies, like, you got Bud Light, you got Mountain Dew, you got Xbox, you've got like Sony, you've got like a bunch of different electronics for that movie specific, and not even just the first movie, like throughout the whole series you've got all those ad placements. And even with the Avengers, like, I remember when the movies were coming out, you would go and see Dr. Pepper cans with all of the different Avengers on them.
I didn't think we saw any soda
No,
purchases
not
in this one.
no
Not that I saw.
no the only biggest driving point for it, I feel like, is the ooze, because there's two different types of ooze that they used. One being like the both being different consistency of slime, because once it's in the container it's more constructed slime, and then once it's out of the package then it's more like strained and like more liquid based slime. So which we were talking about this before the show, where it was like Nickelodeon probably got the idea to do slime, like selling it from that point on.
Yeah.
Maybe. Potentially, because like I think Nickelodeon still owns the rights to Power Rangers, if I'm not mistaken.
I think, but I was saying that I think slime actually was invented by Ivan Ooze, like the whole idea of playing with slime. So.
Possibly, because like
The point is they played off of each other.
Yeah.
The companies played off of one another person's success, and then before you know it, everybody's got their own version. Yeah.
Right. Yep. So we'll actually talk about the movie specifically. So one of the things I did actually like about it was like the Rangers outfits. Yes. So like not even just like
The ninja outfits were on.
Oh
I was
my
just gonna say the
gosh, they
ninja
were so
outfits were actually
cool.
really cool, because like when that actually came up, I was all like,
Ninjetti, sorry.
Damn.
Whatever word they use.
Like-
Yeah, the Ninjetti, yeah.
Ninjago. Who cares?
Yeah, it was Ninjetti.
Ninjetti, yeah. That's what Dulcia, I think is how you pronounce it, said that.
Yeah.
Amazonian lady, whatever.
Yeah.
And
Who was
that's
hot in this
that's
movie?
enough.
Let me
All the
say.
Amazon ladies, they were like wearing bikinis. I was like, you're in a forest. I mean, dude, that's not gonna protect you. But it
No,
was the 90s.
She is the threat.
But it's also the thing too of it being like not even just like, oh, you're an Amazonian woman that lives in the jungle or whatever. Pretty much like, even if you're there and you're just naked, like you don't have very much clothing to work with. So like I don't think you're gonna make
was
yourself
doing her
pants or
best.
anything. So
She was
because
in owl form most of the time anyway. So
yeah. But no, like definitely when she came on screen, I was all like, I had to do a second take. I was just like, hold up. Why don't I remember her in this movie?
oh god.
Which you were also going to bring your autographed VHS
I know.
to show
I
and
completely
display.
forgot, but I went to
Shame her in the comments. Shame her.
I went to Kansas City and I actually met Johnny Young Bosch, and it was by far one of the singular greatest moments of my life. And he was actually shocked when I showed him that I still had the original VHS. So
Yeah, because like
gosh, I can't believe I forgot it.
I completely forgot that he was even in this movie, because like even for me, the only reason why that I know Johnny Young Bosch is because of his voice acting in anime.
Oh, he's actually become the most successful of that group of actors. He's
Like
so
pretty much like
successful.
most of them fell off after Power Rangers like got done, because like their version of the Power Rangers, because then it went on to be Turbo Force and
Power Ranger Zero.
yeah, and a bunch of other stuff. But like even for that, like not a lot of them went on to like have other careers or done anything else besides Power Rangers.
Oh, yeah.
So
Call
like
it the Harry Potter syndrome.
right,
yeah.
it's like that's the only thing that they're known for, but that's the only thing that they've ever done. So
Jason David Frank did open up a school, martial arts school.
I know he did that.
Steve Cardenz is actually a educator at the New York School, New Jazz, I think it's what it's called. But he is a teacher, and everybody else is into acting and music. But
Yep.
Johnny Young Bosch was the most successful because he didn't get much screen time in this movie. He didn't get a lot
No.
of lines, and yet here he is breaking through the industry, and I love that about him.
Right.
I love him as Ichigo.
Yeah, he was very young in this, maybe early 20s, I feel like. And it's like, thinking about it now, it's like, okay, like if he's in like early 20s, say 22, it's like now it's 2025 and that was back in 95. It's all like, thinking about how old he is now, it's all like, yeah, that kind of makes sense. Like, especially where it's all like, okay, where you had these actors that they're like not teenagers, because that's what they're supposed to be portrayed as teenagers, because like it's just like what, 5 of them originally that they're like in school, and then like they get called up by Zordon to be the protectors of the world because the Power Rangers are no longer there. And I'm drawing a blank on her name, but like the evil witch that comes out,
Rita.
Rita, where she comes out, and now it's like, okay, now I need to call on the Power Rangers. So now I need to select 5 different teenagers to be the Power Rangers. And like that was the whole driving force of the whole series. But then Tommy gets introduced later, and then he becomes the 6th Ranger. So
it was, Rita was trying to control Tommy, and we actually have that VHS episode of the Green Ranger. It was like one of the biggest episodes,
because like they didn't have a Green Ranger, and then he became the Green Ranger, and he was evil, and then he became a good guy because he was no longer under her brainwash, and then he later on in the series, he left the Rangers, went on his own, became a White Ranger, and then came back, and then he was just the White Ranger, and then he just became the leader because there was the Red Ranger that was the leader.
And I do like that he has the green outline still with the white, so it still acknowledges what he did, but that has changed.
Yeah,
it's pretty cool.
Now it's white and gold in the movie.
Yeah.
So, but moving on, I love the fact that in the beginning of the movie, they're all in an airplane, they're about to skydive, and they each put their helmets on. But Tommy's, I feel like, is the only one that was small because it fit over his mouth. So it didn't fit over his chin like the others did. It just fit over his mouth.
Yeah, I kind of laughed
So,
at it.
but even for all of these big, huge, like, things that they did, like action sequences like this, where it's all like, I don't really think it was their actors that were doing it. I think it was like their stunt doubles and stuff. Because like a lot of the time, like I even have it written down, it's like a lot of flipping. Like that's just what they were doing, just a lot of flipping. Like over the camera. Yeah. It's like a lot of flipping, a lot of whooshing whenever they move their arms and stuff, because you can't just be like, yeah, let's go. It's like, no, you have to go, let's go, whoosh.
They did this like little helicopter. They were like extending their arms. And
that Tommy tornado kick got me laughing. So.
Or Aisha when she was like doing this kind of like spin in the air with her like legs, and I'm just like, I'm like, skydiving must be so much fun. And then it's, you got to remember that I don't know what they were doing this for.
They were doing it for like an event or something like that,
but
because
they were asking
like
teenagers to do this. I'm like, shouldn't you be asking professionals?
Right. It's all like, I don't think that anybody knows that they're the Power Rangers though.
Yeah,
because
they come
like
in all their colors.
That's the reason why I think that they did that, was because they're like, oh, let's get the Power Rangers to do this, but they're not in costume, and like everybody knows who they are. As far as I'm aware, like the Power Rangers are pretty much just like any other superhero, you know, like they have a secret identity. That's the reason why they wear helmets and not just their faces uncovered. So because nobody's supposed to know who they are because they're just teenagers. So I don't know. But like Power you get Rangers all of these people that know who they are, and it's just like, I don't remember when they landed what the announcer said, like, oh, and here come the Power Rangers, let's see if they can do this. And it's all like, I don't understand what's happening right now. Like they don't say anything about an event. They're just there in an airplane skydiving, and then they go to land, and it's just like, oh, let's see if they can land on the bullseye. And it's like, what is happening? Like you got the police department, you got the fire department, you got like
Fred's dad.
Yeah,
he
like
was doing something.
Yeah, because is he the kid?
Yeah, the kid.
Yeah, he was the firefighter.
And his dad was
So-
like, I didn't do so bad. Dad, you landed in the parking lot.
Yeah. So I don't know what it was. I think it might have been in a special event or something like that.
Yeah.
But even besides that, if they had a secret identity, it's like, okay, they're always decked out in their own Power Ranger colors. Every outfit that they're ever in is always like blue, white, pink, red, yellow, black. And it's like, you know specifically who they are. It's all like,
I wonder who the Power Rangers are. Well, who knows?
it's kind of the Superman effect where it's all like, you don't know Clark Kent is Superman up until he takes off his glasses and he combs his hair a different way. That's it. Like, but
You sneeze
moving,
and they change.
right. It's like moving forward, love the fact that, like we mentioned earlier, was the construction workers, they find and then they unearth Ivan Ooze's egg. Because they're like, what's this? Because like they're doing a construction site for a building, and also of course you can't have the Power Rangers without freaking what's their faces? I said them earlier. Give me a second. Bulk and Scully.
Oh, yeah.
So
And they
you
landed
can't.
at the construction site.
Yeah, they land in the construction site, and that's the reason why we're able to see the construction site in the first place is because that they land in it, and then one of them comes up and goes like, "Who are you guys?" They were like. Bulk looks at his badge that he has, which I don't know what that is, nor do I remember, and he's all like, "Oh, like we're the construction inspectors, blah blah." And he goes like, they're like saying that building's supposed to be over there, and then it was just super weird because now that I'm like 30 years old, it's like, okay, you guys are being annoying. Like, I need you to stop.
You know what's even more wild to me? First of all, skating. Nothing could be more 90s than that.
Oh, you mean rollerblading?
Or rollerblading, yeah.
Or as the kids like to call it, blaning.
but the fact that they're like, let's take a shortcut, and they go through a construction zone. I'm like, wait, what?
Right, because then after they land and they're all talking or whatever, now all of a sudden they're rollerblading, and like they're going through the town and everything, and then they go like, hey, let's cut through a shortcut over here. And then, like you said, like they went through a construction site, which makes no sense, because then that's when we get Skull and Bulk to actually fly in from their parachute and stuff.
Where's the free food?
So, and like even before, like they were talking about like, oh, I wonder where Bulk and Skull are. Like, oh, they probably landed on the roof for the event or whatever. And it's all like, the heck is going on? And then after Ivan is unearthed, then they start fighting the oozlings, like the little
that
kids.
Fight. They did such a good job for. So the Page Master. If any of you have that, I have the original VHS. I was telling them earlier. They released the commercial, like a promo commercial or trailer, I should say, for it, but an interview as well on it, and it showed them fighting the oozlings, and it was just so cool, and I loved it. I think it was Billy who punched down, and one stopped and pulled in his hands, just like ooze coming off, and I don't know why I thought that was like the coolest thing ever. I loved that fight.
Use, you lose.
Yeah. Plus, it was funny too because before that they actually started fighting, they were like, because I've written down, it's just like, what do we do? And it's like, I don't know, fight. Like, that's what you basically are doing. Like, whenever you encounter a bad guy or minions or whatever, it's all like, what do we do? It's all like,
yeah, this is like,
use your martial arts to protect yourselves. I don't know. Like, they're bad guys. Go and kick their asses. Like, what do you think? Like,
if you want, you can just teleport
it's not,
out of there too.
it's not an interactive like Dora the Explorer. Like, what should we do? And it's not like, it's nothing like that. Like, that's the biggest thing to me of like being a kid in the 90s was like, obviously, you know, you get super excited. You're like, yeah, go fight them and like beat them up and whatever. It's like, now as an adult, you're just like, why don't you just go and fight them?
Yeah.
Like, why do you have to ask the question of go like, what do we do? It's like, I understand having system of belief, but like,
it still holds up to this day. My nephew loves this movie.
oh
And
yeah, definitely.
When they ask, what do we do? He gets into the pose, grabs his buckle and goes, Morphin time!
Yeah.
So it works. That's why they put it in there.
Yeah.
And I was just like, I'm like, just fight. And he's like, Morphin time! I'm like,
Yep.
they know what they were doing.
That's what you got to do. Speak it of. It's morphin' time.
It's morphin' time.
And then they become the Power Rangers.
Yeah.
And I think it's also funny that whenever they do that, that's how they get their superpowers. Other than that, when they're just in their regular street clothes, they don't have any powers at whatever.
Yeah.
So it's all like, okay, which I guess is the reason why they're called the Power Rangers. So I don't know. But then I also had it written down, like I mentioned earlier, it was like every movement that they had, it was always a whooshing sound. So,
Yeah,
which I
goodness.
was just like, that's very 90s, but it's also very much for them specifically. So I just think that was hilarious that every time that they moved around, they would always have a whooshing sound for them. And then also at the same time, it's just a lot of flipping. So, like Kimberly, she was doing like back springs.
Yeah.
And then
Her and Billy. Right
Billy,
behind you, Kim?
yeah, Kimberly goes like, "Hey, I'm gonna go this way," and then Billy was like, "Come, like, yeah, right behind you," and he's doing the exact same thing, but they're just sped up, and I'm like, "Why are you doing that?
Just
Why is this
run."
effective? like you don't need to be doing all of this."
Right behind you, Kimberly.
But, yeah, they're fighting all the ooze monsters or younglings or whatever you want to call them, and they get them all into like a group, and the White Ranger pulls out his sword. The only time he actually pulls out his sword, and he's like throwing it around, and then he just like lets it go because it's its own entity, pretty much. Because then it just flies around the group, and then gets them all nice in a circle, and goes up above where a crate is, and then it doesn't cut. Instead, what does it do? It uses lasers for its
Ruby
eyes to cut the freaking to cut the wire, and then it drops on them and just squishes all of them into ooze. That I thought was hilarious because like I've heard about this before, and I was just like, that's really dumb. Like, it's a sword. Why doesn't
Yeah.
it just cut the freaking wire? Like, what the hell?
It's got to prove that it can do more than just slice and dice.
Because I also know that in the show it would also do that sort of thing too, of it being like not just like a sword. It was also a laser. It was also a gun. Like all this bunch of stuff. It's like basically it needed to be whatever you wanted it to be. Yeah. And I know that it might have been the driving force behind like the toy line too.
We had the sword. My brothers had the sword growing up, so I do remember. I thought it was a pretty cool sword. So.
Yeah. And then next up, I had that Zordon needs help. We have to hurry, and then takes all day to walk, because like
They said it like 5 times in this movie.
yeah,
I'm
we
like,
have to
dude,
hurry. Zordon doesn't have much time, because like pretty much what happens in the movie is that Ivan Ooze goes to the lair, breaks in, smashes everything up. Zordon loses power, so now the Power Rangers can't have their power to fight crime, and now Zordon is dying.
What's happening?
Because he's not in his pod, basically. And who was it? The robot.
Alpha.
Alpha. He takes whatever little power that they have to transport the Rangers to this other planet to go and get more power, so that way that they can come back and fight Ooze and also rescue Zordon.
But they have to get back on their own, which I thought would have been hilarious if it just ended them on the planet. Like,
Yeah.
I was laughing. I'm like, wouldn't this just be funny if, like, okay, how do we get back now?
It's like
Joe's got the great
50 years later.
Because-
we got the
of
great
the
power.
yeah.
Now what?
You know what?
Because
The
of the
end.
fact that like they couldn't do that on their own. Like they can't just transport wherever that they wanted to. If that was the case, they would transport everywhere.
Oh, yeah.
So like they needed like the power
They
of
went through
Zordon to
space.
do
I
that.
just realized that they went through space.
Yeah, because then also at the same time when they passed through like the evil lair that is apparently on the freaking moon, I guess. I don't know where it's at, but apparently it's on a moon or a rock or something. But like then you kind of get the synopsis of like Ivan Ooze taking over and like double crossing the two main bad guys for the Rangers and stuff, and trapping them in a snow globe, and then have the two underlings, Gordon, I think that's his name, and like the pig guy.
Yeah, and Goldar.
So, yeah, Goldar, that's his name. And then basically Ivan's taking over and everything and whatever. And then but yeah, they get to the planet and they fight the vultures.
I love the Tengu.
So-
the Tengu.
Yeah.
Those were so. I actually loved that.
But-
That was fun.
After they meet the Amazon woman, they pretty much go like, oh yeah, like we have to rescue Zordon. And so she goes like,
Zordon?
wait, Zordon, you know Zordon? And they're like, yeah, like we're Power Rangers. It's like, why didn't you just say that? Go like, hold on, like we're here to get this power. And she like kicks Tommy's ass
It was
because
really fun to watch.
yeah, because like she was all like, oh yeah, like many have tried to get this power, many have failed. And so he's all like, well, we're gonna win, or we're gonna get it. And it's all like, oh yeah,
90s optimism.
yeah,
Instant.
yeah. So, and they're traveling, and they're like, yeah, we have to hurry because like Zordon doesn't have much time. I'm like, okay, it took you all day to walk to this specific place. Now it's nighttime, so one day has passed as far as we're aware. And then while in the meantime, Ivan is giving his ooze out to these kids to basically have their parents be mind controlled, so that way that they can go to the construction site and unearth his giant metal bug creatures.
Yeah.
And then after that, it's like, okay, they're still there. And it's all like, okay, now they're being bestowed tiny bit of power to basically go off onto this other thing that they need to go and get the actual power that they need to go back to Earth and save Zordon. And like I have it all written down too, of going like, okay, and like what like we mentioned earlier was like the ninja outfits. Once they transformed into the ninja outfits, I'm like, okay, that's actually really cool.
Oh yeah, that was
Like
really
that was actually really
They're
sweet.
looking fresh.
Yeah. I'm like, okay, don't get me wrong. The costumes are pretty cool, but the ninja outfits is what makes it cooler because you never see them. It's like, dude, this is awesome.
It's like
but
a mix of their normal form and their Power Ranger form.
yeah, and so like, now they changed their powers a little bit because now they're no longer like basically the Tyrannosaurus, the mammoth, the saber-tooth tiger, and the pterodactyl. Like they're no longer that. Now they're different, and so like. And like I said, I have it written down. So it's like Aisha is the bear who is fierce and unstoppable. Rocky is the ape, which is powerful and smart. Billy is the wolf, cunning and swift. Kimberly is the crane, which is agile and light as a feather. Adam is a frog, and he goes like, but I'm a frog. So she goes like, yeah, but you're handsome as a prince.
the one you kissed to get a handsome
Duh.
prince.
Like, okay, that still doesn't make any sense. So his power is that he's handsome? Like, I will admit he is a handsome fella.
Still
But-
worth it. Got kissed by an Amazonian princess.
Oh yeah,
He's the only one that got kissed.
Yeah, so
So,
give him that.
Take
but
your
also,
victory, bro.
When I
Yeah.
when I met Johnny Young Bosch,
Small victories. We take those, okay? We take tiny W's.
when I met Johnny Young Bosch, that's what he said on my case. He says, "I'm a frog," because that was like my favorite
Yeah.
line as a kid. Because I just like I want to kiss him. So I had a huge crush on Johnny Young Bosch.
Yeah. And then last we got Tommy, who's the Vulcan, which is basically a vulture.
I thought he was a falcon.
Yeah, he's a falcon.
Or yeah, a falcon.
Yeah.
Well, I thought
Lord
that
of
she
the
said
Sky.
yeah, because like I don't know if it was just her accent or something, but like she said Vulcan, but I don't know if she was meaning to say Falcon. So I don't
I think it
know.
was.
I think it was
subtitles
probably
on.
Falcon.
It said Falcon.
Yeah, I think it might have been Falcon, which is
Subtitle
winged
voice
Lord of
for the Lord.
Skies. So
Can you imagine if it was a vulture?
yeah, right. I mean, that's what I thought that it was because I was all like, okay, that's a funny way to say vulture, but whatever.
Catches them dead to rights.
Yeah, and then because then they go off onto the adventure, and now it's daytime again. So it's all like, okay, so you've had one full day to stand around and do nothing. Like, really? It's like I can understand. Like, okay, let's wait up until the morning to go to this giant tower or whatever, this giant rock to go and get these powers. It's like, okay, that's understandable. So then they go through the jungle and then they encounter these giant dinosaur bones.
That was
And,
cool.
like,
The graveyard fight.
Yeah,
I
and with
loved that
the
fight.
bone trying to triceratops. And I was really expecting, who was it? Like Kimberly has the triceratops?
No, it's Billy. Who was it?
Billy, yeah. I was expecting one of them to go, wait, hold on. Like, it's a triceratops. I'm the triceratops. Like, that sort of thing. But, like, no. Then they were getting their asses handed to them by a pile of bones. Tommy runs up a tree and lands on the back, and then I just have written down Bone Rodeo, because then he starts like trying to figure out how to bring it down, and then he goes like all of the bone puns too, of going like, hey, like I got a bone to pick with you, grabs whatever from his neck, and then like it all just falls apart.
And then Billy says that one liner, looks like biology paid off for you.
Yeah. So, because again, they're high school students, so of course. And then it's like, then they finally get their powers. They go back to Earth, and now Ivan Ooze has his giant mechanical bugs, and they're like, okay, like let's call on the Zords, and now they have different Megazords. And
real quick before you go on, one thing I did not like about them finding the bugs, Ivan said, well, thank you for all your help, but now I'm grown tired of you, so go back to the construction site
and basically jump off.
And I'm like, I thought they were at the construction site. And then Freddy, who's there trying to help, runs, has all this time to run back to all these kids who can't find their parents who are having a party. It's basically a Jimmy Neutron thing.
Right.
And say, they're all going to die. I just loved how they pronounced their words back in the 90s. It was just very, But,
right.
But, like, the kids get on the train and head back to the construction site. And I'm like,
yeah, and then they're trying to stop the parents from jumping off a cliff and basically not even just killing themselves, but injuring themselves.
Yeah.
Because like a drop like that,
mode, but it was just...
Because I don't think a drop like that would kill you. I think you would just be very, very, like, injured.
Yeah.
Because,
I mean, sure, like, on top of each other, the bottom people might get killed, but in general...
Like, they would get crushed. But, yeah, like, they call in their Megazords, and then I had it written down was like, how are the other Zords flying?
Oh my gosh, that's a good question.
Because you have the gorilla, right? Which is the ape. You have the wolf, you have the bear, and you have...
flying in.
These are the stupid questions. Dude, they're this is leading up to the mega.
And a frog. You have a frog who's also flying around. It's all like, how are they flying? They don't have booster jets. Like, honestly, because like even in like the TV show, like when they would call on their Zords, then they would be unearthed from other places, either around the globe or whatever, which is definitely impractical, but whatever. Regardless, it's a TV show. They would run across. Like the only one that flew was the pterodactyl. That was the only one that actually flew, like in the TV show.
Can you imagine a giant robotic T-Rex just being unearthed right next to you, and you're like, "Oh my gosh, we're gonna die."
Because, like, I understand the system of belief, but like, honestly,
cool,
like, why are they flying? I understand it's like, you know, driving toys, and it's like no regular kid is going to be like, "Yeah, let's go," and like do that, but like, he would have them fly around and stuff. It's like, yeah, I understand that, but like. Again, I understand you're like flying from a distant planet, coming to Earth, like that makes sense. But as far as like going around trying to fight Ivan Ooze's like mechanical monsters, whatever that they are, it's like, okay, how are they flying and why are they flying? The only ones that should be flying are Tommy's and Kimberly's.
That is a very good question, actually. I never even noticed that.
Yeah, because like obviously as a kid you're just like, okay, cool, you know, like their Megazord's awesome, like they're cool, like they're new, like this is awesome.
With this is I think this isn't meant for adults to take into.
This is what keeps adults up at night. Like, how did they get there?
How did they fly?
I did like.
Whereas it's like we just got this power. Why are we carrying? Fly.
Right.
Do it.
It's like, why are we walking? We can just fly to them. So. But that was
at a time.
Yeah, that was my nitpick. They're like, okay, we gotta hurry up. We can't just have them stand around or walk. Like we have to have them freaking like teleport or something. But yeah, then they have the giant Megazord, which is new, and I'm like, I don't really like this one as much. This one doesn't seem cool.
It still gets with the kids. My nephew loves that.
I remember.
If you're watching this, Sawyer, I'm planning to get you that for your birthday. So I hope you see this.
Like I was. Always wanted to get a giant Megazord. That was always like my thing that I've always wanted.
You want to get your 45 inches of Megazord?
You're right. I mean, I got my 19 inches of Venom here, so finally that came in, as well as my poster and these boom mics. So,
or boomsticks.
Yeah, my boomsticks. So, But yeah, then they had the Megazord, and I was like, okay, that's pretty cool. But I'm like, it doesn't look okay though. Not just the CGI, because like the CGI actually pretty much holds up for a '90s movie.
Oh yeah.
So like, especially when I noticed that for the
When Ooze would come in.
yeah, when Ooze had his creatures, like they were okay looking for '90s.
Oh
So,
yeah. I love
and then they fight, and then they were like, "Oh, hey, like here's this comet that's coming in. We should probably have Ivan go
Ryan's
up there."
comment. That's what I was like. That was very
Because-
convenient.
Yeah, because of the fact that Ivan gets tired of the Power Rangers. Sorry, I have burp coming on, and then he takes control of one of them by becoming Ooze himself, and then he transforms into a giant creature, and then they fly up to space, and then they were like, okay, like how are we gonna do this? Because like now they're in a death grip, and they're like, how are we gonna get out of this? And so Aisha starts
Taking care of business.
starts punching buttons and like doing knobs and stuff, and they're like, what are you doing? She goes, like, take care of business. And like they have a glass case that says break for emergencies. She hits the button, and then it's just them kicking him in the balls. That's the
pretty
emergency.
funny.
It's all like, can't you just control the leg anyway? Like, do you need an emergency like thing for that?
It was
What
for
if-
the extra thrust, all right?
Yeah,
What if
apparently.
Ivan was from behind? Like, what would that emergency button have done?
Right.
Or
Just
was he
had
kicking-
them-
doing the can in the air.
Not even just that. I'm pretty sure if it was that, it would have just been them just like hitting their fist backwards in the nuts. So, but then he flies off, and then they're
Oh,
like,
no.
okay, Tommy goes like, okay, let's get out of here, and like then they fly back to Earth. It's like, don't you want to make sure that he's actually dead first?
Yeah, that's a good
Because
point.
then the comet just comes straight to Ivan, and then he dies and blows up, and it's just like, okay, wouldn't you have made sure that he actually blew up before you started running off? Because like, I don't know, but yeah, then they come back, and then it's all like a giant celebration for the Rangers, and then that's where it ends. Because like they do actually, when they come back, Zordon, they're like, oh man, it's too late, and then they're like, well, you just have to believe.
Oh gosh.
And then they all like go hand in hand together, singing "Kumbaya," and
By
then
the power of friendship.
yeah, through the power of friendship, we will resurrect our master. And then Zordon's back alive, which doesn't really make any sense, because then everything goes back to normal. Like the lair is no longer destroyed; everything goes back to being normal. It's like,
They Clark Kented that stuff.
yeah,
Superman
it's all
too.
like, what? That doesn't make any sense, but whatever.
I still like it. It's still fun to watch.
Yeah.
I
Oh,
don't,
yeah.
I don't know why, but I'm like, this is cool. I like seeing things go in reverse. It's fun.
And now everything's back to normal, and then now they can go about their lives, and that's the end of the Power Rangers, Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, the movie.
I will say this movie did had a stellar, excellent, and I mean excellent soundtrack. I loved the ending song where it goes and higher and
Yeah.
higher. I can't remember what it was, but it was a great song. They had all the good songs.
Yeah. And now is the time for the show where we talk about suggested people. So we will take a 1 or a 10 or both star rating for a movie. No, wait, hold on. Duh. Forgetting the most important thing before that.
Favorite line?
No.
I would like to throw my favorite line in real quick.
Is this a rent, buy, or a skip? I can't believe I forgot about that. But yes, for those of you that don't know, a rent is basically an occasional watch. You'll watch it every so often if it's available. This is actually free on YouTube, so you can watch it for free on YouTube.
With ads.
Yeah, with ads.
Not me. I have YouTube Premium, so.
So do I. So, but
Cheapo.
buy is, of course, you'll buy it, you'll have it forever on your shelf, you'll always go to it, and you'll always watch it. Skip is just don't even waste your time. So who would like to go first?
I'll go
for this.
first. I'm gonna say bye.
Fuck yeah!
Just because, one, I know it's not the greatest of movies, but it's like what you're saying. It's so bad, it's good.
Mm-hmm.
And it's got Johnny Young Bosch in it. I can't ignore him, but having nephews, they just love this movie. Every time my nephew comes over, he refuses to watch anything but this movie.
Mm-hmm.
So in the long run, I'd say it's bye, and it has a lot of childhood nostalgia. So yeah,
Yeah.
I may not watch it, but my future sons will. So.
Yeah, I definitely have that with my niece because like last time I went over to my mom's, she was all like, Uncle Devin, like let's watch Deadpool. I was like, okay. So she turns on Deadpool and then she's doing other stuff in the background. And I'm all like, okay, that's very me coded because I do the same thing. Like I'll have something on in the background and I don't care. And like I'll just be doing something else. Like I can literally sit here and play video games and watch a movie at the same time and still understand everything that's going on. So
Monster.
yeah.
Monster.
Yeah. Sam?
This is a low rent for me.
I mean, it's alright, like.
Low rent. Okay.
It's a low rent. I like to, for people that don't know, I like to put in rent categories. I kind of have a like low, medium, high.
Right. It's like rent is just a rent. Low rent is like borderline skip.
Like it's more of a
high
time.
rent is like a really like, oh, definitely go check this out, but just rent it.
Yeah, for like low one, it's like, oh, I could wait like 6 years between
Yep.
watching this. Like it's so
Like
few and
don't
far
like
between.
not don't waste your time, but don't be in a hurry to go and watch
Exactly. I had
Yeah.
fun watching it, but it's not a what's the word? Like a obligation to continue to watch it.
this. Right.
So I enjoyed it.
It's like you'll watch it every like 2 years. 3
It does
years.
bring back the nostalgia of the mid to late 90s, early 2000s vibes
Yeah.
that I
100%.
grew up with. So I appreciate that a lot, even with the cheesiness. So,
Yeah.
but I'd put it at a low rent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It sits comfortably right there for me.
Yeah. For me, it's definitely a rent.
I mean, it's alright, like.
I think I used to have this movie on VHS growing up. I can't remember, but I would definitely say that it is a rent for me, just because of like it's very nostalgic, but it's not super nostalgic to the point where it's like, man, like I really want to watch this and continue to watch it. Kind of like Street Fighter. Street Fighter is just a bad movie that is a good time. So.
It was a
And-
tasty appetizer.
Right. And it's like, this is a middle of the road. It's not good. It's not bad. It's just a middle of the road. Like, it's just basically a TV show movie. That's what this is. And just like what we said earlier was like, it's just basically a really long episode of Power Rangers. That's just what it is. Because before you know it, it's over. Like,
Oh, yeah.
there's some bits that's just like, okay, well, this doesn't really feel like that it's moving anything, because like then they go to the distant planet and now they have to basically get their powers again. It's like they're walking to the ceremonial spot to get their little
It's a
power that
movie
they
with
have.
bullet points.
Right. And then also at the same time you have Ivan Ooze, who's down on Earth, who's like trying to mind control the parents. All as much stuff is happening at the same time. It's like, okay,
I think if Ivan Ooze wasn't in it, this would probably be a rent for me too.
Yeah.
But I just like if it was just like
they
the typical
introduced
Goldar,
they introduced a new villain.
Yeah, so
So-
it was huge for it to have a new villain. It was not just Lord Zeth and Rita and Goldar,
Repulsor.
or, whatever, all those guys.
Yeah.
So it was nice to have a new villain. So because a new villain, that's why I made it buy.
Yeah.
And plus, Ivan has the best lines in the movie. I love when he
Yeah.
destroys the command center.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, the things I miss: the plague, the Spanish Inquisition, the Brady Bunch reunion.
Yeah, because like he was trapped in that egg. He was trapped in the egg for like 6,000 years.
Yeah.
So
I've had a Charlie horse since the Renaissance.
the Renaissance.
Yeah.
So,
It
yeah,
is, and I loved like how Goldar would be like, "What do we do, Master?" He's like, "Touch me again, you'll be chicken wings in the morning."
yeah.
My wife chuckled at that part.
So
Ivan had the best lines.
yeah,
So.
but even for me, it's like, okay, it's very nostalgic, so that's a plus. It's Power Rangers, so that's also a plus. And it's like, you kind of don't necessarily need to watch this movie to understand the Power Rangers, because like you can watch any Power Rangers show and it doesn't matter what decade that you watch it in. But like, especially for me, it's like this one and Turbo were my favorites. As well as like, what was the third one? I don't remember. Where like they were cars and stuff. I don't remember. But
You're talking about
but-
Transformers?
no.
Oh, I was gonna say.
No, literally, there was a couple times last night where my wife, who was drunk, she would be like, "Yeah, don't you have to watch?" Well, once when she was drunk, once when because yesterday I took a nap, and so I was just like very tired, so I lay down. And I wake up and she comes into the room and she goes like, "Hey, like, don't you have to watch your movie for the podcast tomorrow?" Like I said, "Yeah." And she goes like, "Oh, okay. Like, I just want to make sure that you're up, that you can watch it." And so she goes like, "Isn't it Transformers?" And I was like, "No, it's Power Rangers." She goes like, "Oh, okay." And then even last night, she goes like, "Did you watch your movie? Did you watch Transformers?" She goes like, "No, wait, Power Rangers?" I was all like, "No, not yet."
They do kind
So-
of have a similar feel.
I mean, yes and no, because like they never really made a live action Transformers except for like Michael Bay back in 2008, 7, something like that. But
Shia LaBeouf.
regardless, finishing off my train of thought for it being a rent. But yeah, it's just very nostalgic. It's very 90s. It's the Power Rangers. So like, if you've loved the Power Rangers growing up, this is definitely a movie to check out. But it's not necessarily a buy for me. So it's like, even now, you can't even buy it on streaming or anything. So that's the other thing. Like, you really can't. So, but now is the time to when we actually talk about suggestive people. I'm not going to bother going off onto that whole thing, but I did have a couple like brought up. So somebody said that it was a 1-star review saying that it's absolutely sad. It's very sad that kids nowadays would even consider watching the particular movie. Cartoon violence, only this is done not by cartoons, which kids would attempt to imitate, less at most children understand that cartoon physics, or lack of them. You had 2 parentheses in there, my guy. Has nothing to do with real life, but by real actors. Real actors dressed in extremely ridiculous suits and quoting a really ridiculous script. Overall, I do not see children over 12, which is the minimum age to watch the movie in some countries, being attracted to MMPR-TM, which is basically Mighty Morphin Power Rangers the movie. It appeals to a much lower in maturity audience. Mind you, this was back in 98 when this person made this.
Oh, yeah.
This isn't even modern. This is just back in 98.
This is probably the
September
same kind of
30th,
person that would
1988.
complain about there being 3 pickles on their burger instead of 2.
Right.
Oh, gosh.
Because, like, that doesn't make any sense. It's all like,
Children shouldn't
Even-
be attracted to violence.
Show me your true pettiness.
even in, like, the TV show, it's not a cartoon. So what is he talking about?
That's what I'm
Wait,
saying.
can you read that? Okay, so
Logic
cartoon
doesn't-
violence.
So, yeah, he said that cartoon violence, only this is not done by cartoons. Basically, he's saying that they have cartoon violence, but it's not a
like,
cartoon.
Like the
Did he
anvil
just
on the
net?
head.
Did
Right.
he just net positive his own statement?
Right.
Oh, boy.
It's all like, that doesn't make any sense to me of how you can say, oh yeah, it has cartoon violence, but it's not made by cartoons. It's like, well, yeah, because it's still a children's,
Not a
called
cartoon.
Kids.
it's still a children's TV show.
Name me one other live action movie back in that time for kids that kids loved to watch. Because the 90s, that was the renaissance of cartoons. So to have a live action film that was for kids that kids actually liked to watch was a big deal.
Yeah.
Because I remember like if back then my mom, do you want to watch a cartoon or do you want to watch this live action, like say Sound of Music? I'm like, I want to watch the cartoon. I don't want to
Yeah.
watch live action.
Right. Because, like, obviously for kids, it's all about colors and, like, action and stuff. Well, especially for boys. Girls
Oh, no.
is a different story.
Oh no! As a girl, I can tell you it's true.
Yeah. Because, like, that was the whole thing of it being, like, it's cartoonish, but it's live action. That's what it was. And, like,
It's a
even
kid's
for me,
world.
I never try to, replicate freaking Tommy's tornado kick. Like, as much as I would have loved to have done that would have been awesome.
Me up. I'm still thinking about
Yeah,
it.
it goes like, okay, here comes the tornado kick, and like jumps off, and then
5
just, like,
seconds later.
starts going, and then starts spinning, and I'm like, what the heck? Like, that's not how physics works.
Okay, I have a confession to make. I will say, it was not this movie, but it was the TV show. I watched one of the Power Rangers leap over the wall, and I wanted to do it. I ended up breaking my arm.
Good job. I never really like replicated anything that was on TV because it's kind of like wrestling, where it's like, don't try this at home, or even Jackass. It's like, don't try this at home.
It was just like a leap over the wall, put his arm over the wall and leap over.
Yeah.
And our stairs didn't have a rail, so I thought, oh, I'll try that. and I miscalculated and I slipped down and landed perfectly on my arm. And all my mother heard that night was me screaming, and she's like, "What is that girl up to?"
Yeah. But yeah, no.
Family
like,
never lets me down on it.
If that's the only gripe that you have about this is the fact that it's like cartoonish violence, but it's live action, then you have no argument. Because again,
they just said nothing. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. And then it's all like real actors dressed in extremely ridiculous suits. It's like they need a suit. What are you talking about?
That's like
that's the whole point of the movie and show is that they have power suits that have their powers.
This guy probably likes to watch Marvel, and no offense to Marvel fans, but they wear all these crazy suits.
Not even that. This was made back in '98, so they didn't even have the MCU at that point.
But yeah, now we have the MCU, but like we trash 90s because look at their suits, they're just ridiculous. I'm like, hello, have you seen what Captain America looks like or whatever? I don't know. I'm just pulling a name out. But
yes, and he has a great suit, so I remind you to not mock him. No, I'm kidding.
No, Venom has a great. I love Venom's suit.
Yeah. And then we will move on to a 10-star review. So keep this in mind. This was made back in 2005. So this movie is the shiznit. I've not heard that in years. This film is not meant to be at all meaningful to an adult audience. I would agree. I, however, saw this film as a child and loved it. I would also agree. I wish that children's films were still like this today instead of the animated junk. Again, would agree. This film was terrific. It has a pretty great story, lovable characters, and great villains. I feel bad that this terrific series that gone down the poop chute with about 9 remakes of the characters. I think that a lot of people that were children when this came out would agree here. Not to mention the film had an amazing soundtrack. All in all, for a children's film, I think that this film was worth the money, and I suggest this movie for the newer generation of children too. Yeah, honestly, I would have to agree with what they're talking about here, just because of the fact that except for the fact that he just goes like, oh yeah, like except for like all the other different Power Rangers shows that have come out. It's like, well, yes. And it's only because like, okay, this generation is over, so now we need a new generation of kids. It's kind of like with Pokemon. Pokemon, for each generation of Pokemon that come out, we've grown up.
Yeah.
And now it's no longer interesting to us as adults. But we can go back and watch the first couple of series and still love it because that's what we grew up with. Versus now, it's all like, I don't get this. Like, this doesn't make any sense. Or it's like, this isn't my humor, because it isn't your humor. It's made for kids that are now that are watching it, or for that time that are watching it. Like, that's just how media is. That's how TV shows are. That's how cartoons are. That's how movies are. That's just how it is. Like, if you were to show a kid Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, like the first movie, I'm pretty sure that they would love it still to this day. But yet, like, we still love it as adults because that's what we grew up with. But like, even if I showed my niece the Ninja Turtles movies, she would probably love that.
Oh, yeah.
So,
and let me just point out, they're taking a lot of our childhood movies and kind of making them more, I don't even say age appropriate, just trying to, like, for example, Lion King, The Little Mermaid, all that, they're changing the chemistry of the original movie. Kind of, I feel like they're trying to match a more adult audience, like fill in the questions like they try to do in Beauty and the Beast, like, why did the country of France not realize their king was missing and blah blah blah.
Yeah.
They try to answer all the questions that, you don't need to answer every question because it's a kids movie.
Yeah.
And when you try to put that chemistry into to make it for adults, which it's a kids movie, it just does not work out.
Oh, yeah.
Which is, I think, why Mighty Morphin Power Rangers worked out so well. They didn't try to answer, like, sure, it was ridiculous, but it was for kids. They didn't need to answer every question, even though that's the big question all the kids ask, why.
They don't care about the holes. They actually kind of want there to be more holes, because then that means more action happened.
Oh, yeah.
Because, like, especially back then for, like, a TV show, was like, okay, like, we need something to continue on to the next episode. So, like, that's the only reason why that the bad guys always get away, is because, like, okay, they live to fight another day, because they'll come back and then we have to fight something else on next week's episode. So, yeah. And it's like, that's the whole premise of a kid's show. In a movie, you can kill off the main villain because he's no longer going to be back. Like, that's fine. Because he's just a one and done character. Versus these other characters that are synonymous with the show, they continue on. And I kind of feel like that it's kind of like with like the Dragon Ball Z movies before like Super came out, was like you had the Dragon Ball Z movies come out for like Android 13, Cooler, like Broly, like you had all of these big huge main villains for this series, but they did nothing for the original story, because the original story was only like Vegeta, Frieza, Raditz, Cell, like Majin Buu, like those were the main villains of the whole franchise. But for these movies, you only got one and done characters, but they became so great and popular because like they're such great characters. So, but like they're no longer canon, and with that, it's like, okay, they don't reference them at all because they didn't exist. They were never real. So it's like that whole thing. But no, like definitely I would have to agree with what he was saying about like that it being a great nostalgic trip and stuff like that. And given the fact that it was back in 2005, because like not a lot of people talk about it nowadays, especially for like their reviews or anything, but
Still a fun movie.
yeah, it's still a good movie. I'm not going to discredit it not being a good movie. So, but does anybody else have anything else for this?
No.
Okay, cool. Well, because I also just now remembered, I forgot to mention this. So we will do it as a closer. Well, I'm Devin. We had our guest Kat come in, and with me is my co-host Sam. And then thank you all so much for watching this week and listening, whether that be in your car, your way to work, while you're working, because I know that sometimes we'll watch/listen to stuff while we're working. And leave a comment in the comment section below about a movie that you guys want us to watch, whether that be your favorite movie, a bad movie, a good movie, or a movie that you're just interested in watching but just don't really want to waste your time or money. Give us a suggestion in the comment section below. Be sure to also share this with everybody as well.
I want you to tell all your friends about me.
Share it with people that you think that will like movies, or even with this one specific, a nostalgic trip. So and also be sure to subscribe to the channel. We're both on YouTube and on Spotify. For some reason Patreon jumped into my head. And also be sure to follow us on TikTok and on Instagram. I keep forgetting to actually do clips for those, which I will probably start doing. And thank you all so much. Thank you all so much for watching, and we'll see you guys next week.
Peace.
Bye. It's morphin' time.
It's morphin' time.
It's morphin' time!